Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Monday to each and every one of you. What an exciting time to be an early adopter in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. Listen, my friends, you and I, we're playing a game that 99.99% of the masses don't even know is being played. And we are winning. I'm telling you, we are winning. We're early to this game. And we should all, I believe, be excited about that. So I'm going to go over a couple of things from Crypto X. I'm going to highlight Thomas, looks like, is it Silkjer? He is head of compliance and analytics at the XRPL Foundation. He has some very, very interesting thoughts about the EVM sidechain, the XRPL ledger. He and I had a little back and forth um, discussion about those things, the sidechain, the EVM sidechain, and the XRPL. It's very, very interesting kind of back and forth. I also had a little bit of a back and forth with Short the FOMO, who I believe is a developer slant and validator, or used to be a UNL validator on the XRPL. So we're going to get into that. We're going to have a little discussion to that about that. And in the end, we're going to come to the conclusion and the challenge that I have been mentioning for several months now. And it all leads back to the centralized entity that is Ripple. All right, guys. So listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news in around 0 to 10 minutes. All right. So Thomas says here, again, so I'll let you guys see that so you can see. It says head of analytics and compliance at XRPLF. Okay. In my personal opinion, the EVM sidechain is the single biggest direct attack on the XRPL protocol, pushed by those that should be defending and working for the protocol. You're going to find out between our conversations, kind of back and forth here on X, that I'm trying to get him to say what exactly that is, they that should be defending. And I finally got him to say it. You know, something we addressed 2, 3, if not 4 months ago. We addressed the elephant in the room that people like Brad Kimes and Zach Rector and a digital asset investor don't want to address, don't want to cover under the guise of positivity instead of being real with the community. All right, so it does. Okay, let me read that again. In my personal opinion, the EVM sidechain is the single biggest direct attack in the XRPL protocol, pushed by those that should be defending and working for the protocol. It does nothing for Ripple D. It does nothing that makes the XRPL more attractive to new devs. And again, he's just saying, in my personal opinion, it has little to no similarities in dev stack and interaction. It oozes, quote, we can't attract utility on the XRPL, but we can't let XRP die. Listen to those words. Listen to those words. It oozes, and here's the quote, we can't attract utility on the XRPL. This is what I said in my last video. But we can't let XRP die. So let's do what everybody else does on a new chain with that token as the somehow native asset, selling the story that the new chain is still the XRPL, unquote. Matt Hamilton is a former kind of dev, I think, for XRPL. Matt Hamilton says this, I agree with your sentiment about the XRP EVM chain. But that then begs the question. So he's agreeing with Thomas. So this is a, ex-person on XRPL. He's agreeing with his sentiment. And again, Thomas' sentiment is we can't attract utility to the ledger, but we can't let XRP die. So let's give them something that allows for XRP to not die but leave the ledger in its current state specifically for payments, right? This is what he's saying. Matt Hamilton says, I agree with your sentiment about the XRP EVM chain, but that then begs the question. If you see that as a quote unquote attack, what are your views on Zahao? Surely by your reasoning, that would be an even bigger attack on the XRPL? Question mark. Different chain and different tokens. Different chain and different tokens. Thomas says, I completely understand why some people think Zahao is an attack on the XRP ledger too. But the development that goes into the core of Zahao is portable to Ripple D. I'm going to try and find a quote from Santiago Velez, who was saying that about the EVM sidechain. Not because of the virtual machine, because of the EVM. So, but the development that goes into the core of the Zahao, says Thomas, is portable to Ripple D. Tools built for one chain works almost out of the box for the other. It stays true to the XRPL spirit and innovates. Okay. Let me see if there's even a read to show more. Yeah, it stays true to the XRPL spirit and innovates on the protocol rather than imitating. But it also is a reaction, I think, this is important, to a controlled ecosystem. Talking about the EVM, Pierce's technology, EVM sidechain. But it is also a reaction, I think, to a controlled ecosystem where it is arguable whether the stewards of the technology dropped the ball. Right? You should remember 3, 4, 5 months ago, I addressed the issue, in my humble opinion, what I thought the issue was. And that was when Schwartz and Thomas, David, Evan, and Stefan, developers, early Bitcoin developers, decided to go work for a company, centralized entity, as opposed to starting a DAO, foundation, I don't know what you want to call it, to protect the XRPL. They decided to work for a centralized entity and give stewardship and direction of the XRPL to the company. That's what they decided to do. And perhaps that's why Jed McCaleb left. I don't know. That's my opinion. That's what it feels like. This is exactly what happened. Because the foundation, quote unquote, was started 5, 6, 7 years after Ripple. You understand? Thomas is expressing that same sentiment. Well, let me think about the statement. But it is all, the EVM sidechain is a reaction, I think, to a controlled ecosystem where it is arguable whether the stewards of the technology dropped the ball. And because Brad Kimes and Digital Asset Investor are holding events, they don't want to speak to this issue. They don't want to address it because that's negativity. David recently described the dilemma of having all the money and incentivizing contributors, in this case, infrastructure. And either people are angry because it appears Ripple can control the projects by cutting off funding if they don't like the direction it's taking. Do you understand? Ripple can cut off the funding because it doesn't like the direction it's taking. Or if they give too much, Ripple risk people stop contributing and just keeping the money, which has happened with several projects. In the first case, Ripple remains the judge of what is good or bad for the XR, it should be for the XRPL. Again, this is a dude who's head of compliance and analytics at the XRPL Foundation. He says, in the first case, Ripple remains the judge of what is good or bad for the XRP. In the second, they have to trust a third party justice. Everyone has to trust them now. Hooks was designed for the XRPL. Zaha was a necessity to see it come to life. And David has spoke to this. David has spoke to, let's see how this Zaha thing works. Let's see how these hooks things work. And then possibly maybe after the people at the centralized entity, give it a blessing to then become a proposal to be voted on. That's the word. That's the process. Listen, and if you're good with that, you're good with that. Nothing wrong with that. If you're good with it, you're good with it. But don't try to hang your hat on, well, we can't speak to the reality of the situation and say that's negativity. We want to stay positive. You understand? And again, if you're good with it, I've said time and time again, I believe that Ripple has been a good steward of the XRP and escrow. I believe that they have been a proponent for XRP and the XRPL. Great ambassadors, without question. But that doesn't mean that you can't speak to what is appearing to be a flaw because they're in the system, because there's a lack of governance. There is no governance here for the community. This is someone, again, from the XRPL Foundation. Ripple remains the judge of what is good or bad. Ripple remains the judge. Ripple is a company, on one company, and they have the direction of the XRPL. Just be honest with it. Speak the truth. That is the truth. Don't talk about validators and decentralization. That is BS. It's BS. Because if you want that XRPL to grow and develop, you have to first go through a centralized entity. If you want to be able to implement the decentralized process, you first have to go through a centralized entity. And we can argue back and forth whether that is right or wrong, good or bad. It doesn't change the fact that that is what it is. It is what it is. And in my humble opinion, more content creators need to speak to the truth of what it is instead of being afraid to do so because they might not show up to your event. They might not show up for an interview that you want to do on your channel. Speak to the truth. That's the truth. And if you're good with that, good with it. But there are people who within the XRPL ecosystem are not good with it. Are not good with it. I applaud what Ripple is trying to do with this EVM sidechain. I really, really do. I think it is necessary. And here's why it's necessary. Because Ripple has drawn a line in the sand. They've, with clenched fists, and have said to the community, we are not going to add anything, anything that might, because we don't know yet, that might affect the prowess of the ledger for payments. Yes, this is what Ripple, this one company, is saying, who we as a community gave the power to. And it started with Schwartz, and Thomas, in my humble opinion. They gave it up, and they gave it to a centralized entity. So we can argue back and forth whether that's the right choice or decision. There are valid arguments in either case. I humbly submit that Ripple did not understand the challenge that they were entered into. They didn't understand it. They thought that the banks were going to welcome them with open arms. And that was not the case. And now they're beginning to also realize that this fight is bigger than what they thought. It's bigger than what they thought. Perhaps they heard of the banking cartel and kind of laughed at the idea. Or they thought that since it's only 8 to 10 banks and we have the numbers, we got the other 2, 3, 4, 5, 9,000 other banks. Since we have the numbers, we can outdo it. And it's looking like that's not the case. The banking cartel has control over Congress. It's not the other way around. A lot of people think it is. It's not. The banking cartel has the money and the influence. Operation Choke Point, we discovered by Kate and Long and people like Crypto Eddie as well, Operation Choke Point, the whole process, all these stuff, bills, is written by the banking cartel. It's written by them. That is what Ripple is going up against. And as an investor, you should be made aware of that. You should be made aware of that. That's all I'm saying. You should be made aware of that, right? And so I'm hoping to be able to have a back and forth with VET and ask him, you got this orchestra finance over here. It says it's on the XRPL. Is this the equivalent, where you can swap and you can provide liquidity? Is this the equivalent of Uniswap on Ethereum? It says experience the performance. Crypto trading on XRPL automated beyond belief, right? You can swap tokens, you can earn, buy, sell, and explore tokens on a ledger. Pool governance based upon how much liquidity you provide in these pools. It's going to give you some type of voting, it looks like. It talks about the continuous auction mechanism. I'm trying to understand how this is not, is Thomas trying to say something like this is not native to the XRPL? I should just ask him. Because he's been responding, and let me go here and ask him. If that's not Twitter, I was playing with Orchestra Finance. If I could spell ESTR, Orchestra, Finance. Similar to Uniswap. Ethereum. Because that's kind of my question. Will this project benefit the XRPL? And I'll get him the answer. So I wanted to bring that to you because I think it's really important, right? So this is kind of some of the back and forth I had with him. Let's see if we can find it. Um, Well, let me read a couple of these things here. Okay, so he was going back and forth with the messaging here. Let me go to my thing and kind of find our back and forth. I think that'll probably be the best. Guys, do me a favor. If you haven't followed me on X, that would be awesome. It's at crypto, CRYPTO _ siege, CEEJ, which is really CJ, by the way. So let me see if I can find, why is Ali G on my thing here? All right, huge announcement. Let's see, we can find my stuff. All right. Why is my stuff not here? Oh, I got to go to replies, I think. Let's go to some replies here, and we're going to end this video. Okay. All right. Okay, there's my hello, it's Orchestra Finance. Okay. Me responding to the madness that is Brad Kimes. Me responding to Hugo about our FLR tokens and Celsius, and I believe or the judge in the case saying that Flare Network has not sent the FLR tokens. Okay, so I think this is some of our back and forth. So this is okay. So this is what I said here. So you're saying that Ripple partnered with a company to build a side chain to attack the XRPL protocol? Correct? Is that what you're saying? He says, in my personal opinion, no. Okay, that's not it. Where was the answer to that? He says here, no one is hurt. No one is quote unquote hurt by the EVM sidechain alone, but the marketing makes it an attack on the protocol. It's a XRPL doesn't matter, XRP does statement. Therein is the attack that the XRPL is diluted, says Thomas. I said, I see and tend to agree with you. Maybe it's not really marketing and more of concession, like conceding. Feels like I said payments, payments, payments. Damn it. If you know what I'm saying. Now, let me see if he responds to something else. I said here, so who is sending a message of promoting a completely different technology as the XRPL? Until that is answered and echoed repeatedly, what will change? He says it's not whether or not the EVM exists or what assets are issued. It's the message. Okay, so that's why I asked him. Let me go here. Let me see. Did he respond? Because he said some very, very good things that I thought was important. And I'm trying to find the one with what's his name? And then I asked him about the bridging. He said the attack is not that you can bridge to an EVM chain because you already can do that. It is the fact that it's being pushed with marketing that makes it sound like it's the XRPL. This is the dude at the head of compliance and analytics at the foundation. The XRPL is being watered down by the entity, centralized entity, I would add, that was supposed to protect it. These are the things that we've been saying for 3-4 months now. And again, if you're good with that reality, awesome. Right? If you're good with that, awesome. You're entitled to be good with it. I'm here to bring the truth. I'm here to let you know the reality of what's really going on. Just like Greg Kidd said, Ripple is in for a thing, trying to get and kill this golden goose that is payments. You got to understand that that's what it is. This thing could take years and years and years. The alternative is being an active participant in the ecosystem for your XRP. So you gotta make your decision. For me, I'm gonna actively participate in the XRP ecosystem because I can with Orchestra Finance. I can with Honor Finance when they get kind of up and running. They're in DevNet as well. Orchestra Finance is in DevNet as well, right? There's a platform called onxrp.com where you can actually onboard your dirty, nasty fiat from wherever you have it onto the platform. Hold up. Oh, just 1 second here. Yeah. So on xrp.com, you can onboard that dirty, nasty fiat into the platform and go immediately to trade and enter into DeFi, and you're on the XRPL. I'm going to do a video showing you how you can do that. And I believe this the way to build a thriving and robust ecosystem is going to require active participation. Shout out to XRP Bags. He did a nice tutorial on how to hook up the DevNet and use Orchestra Finance the same way that I showed you guys for Honor Finance. I'm going to do another video about that as well. So again, this is the truth, and you get to kind of understand where it is. There's nothing against Ripple. It is about the lack of governance. That's what everyone is really kind of speaking to. Everyone is really speaking to the lack of the governance for this ecosystem. Unlike Flare networks, unlike another OG ecosystem called Cosmos and Atom, right? The Cosmos Hub. Unlike those, there's no governance. It's none of that. We have a gatekeeper here. And if you're good with that gatekeeper, awesome. Awesome. But just understand that's where it is. And that gatekeeper's made a decision in the direction that they're going. They've pivoted, right? You kind of got this little side chain. They're going to bring some stuff on chain. But that whole payments thing and waiting for that to take hold and waiting for that that's going to be a minute. And it's not regulatory clarity, Brad Kimes. There's a war going on. And Ripple is going up against the banking cartel and Operation Choke Point. Just face the reality. That's what it is. That's what they're going up against. You think the SEC just came up with it, sleeping at night, laying their head down at night and came up with some idea to extend the broker-dealer thing to AMMs? You think that's just what happened? Oh, it's Gary, right? Hester laying in bed. Let's just extend the definition of broker-dealer and include AMMs. You think that's what happened? Come on, fam. We say it all the time. We can no longer afford to be naive. There's a real war going on. You got to understand that. This lawsuit, you got to understand all that. And if you're good for waiting for the dust to settle 10 years from now, 5 years from now, awesome. For me, I'm going to participate and actively participate now to create wealth on what we can participate in, on what we do have control over. You have to make your own decision for you and your family. All right, fam, there it is. This is your XRP Ripple Daily News in around 0 to 10 minutes. I hope that it has been of value to you. If it has, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you've been hanging out watching the Crypto Siege and you have enjoyed those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to perhaps ponder this, consider this, perhaps ponder the notion or idea of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.